And this is something too, I mean, I forgot the exact words in Japanese, but I was myself have been thinking when reading Aiki-shinzui how to translate it. And the translator here translates it, the logical sequence of the multitudes of gods and all creation. So I think this is what he's talking, again, so you protect, right? One of the things you protect is this. Now, what he's talking about is in Shinto, right? In Shinto you have the primal Godhead, the supreme source, the pure source, which is Ami no Minakunushi no Kami. And then you have, from that point on, you have gods just appearing in a sequence. So, you know, like the first two gods are Kama Mitsuki no Kami, Taka Mitsuki no Kami. What else? And they go on and on and on, like that. And they change. So at one point, suddenly the two gods, or Izanagi no Kami appear. And they actually procreate, they actually create gods as children. Right, and they appear at a certain point. Right, and then, so there's in the Shinto pantheon, there's this movement from the original source through these different gods throughout all creation. So everything has a kind of divine resonance which can be expressed in Koto Tama by the name of the Shinto god. So the translator says, protecting the logical sequence of the multitudes of gods in all creation. So, in a sense, we protect, our protective energy is to maintain that divine flow. And so that energy that we develop in Aikido, that energy and power and the back of that, as we practice these techniques, essentially, you know, that is a kind of power. And it shouldn't be physical power. When I was in Hongo, there was a guy who was only a third dan, but he was one of these intense Japanese guys, and he was the head of an Aikido club in some university. And he could take an iron bar and just bend it like this by concentrating ki. And there was a guy in Shiba, I don't know if he's still alive, he could lift, I think, 400 or 600 kilograms like that by using ki. He said, then, in this way, you accomplish your mission, that is, you find and accomplish your tenmei. So, by resonating and becoming and extending the spirit, the great spirit of love and protection for all things, by protecting divine flow from the original source, you know, by developing wisdom and health and virtue and spirit and ki, right? With one's energy to bring together the whole world in Wago, right? This is big. You know, when we start saying this, these different things, they're big, it's big. So this is your tenmei as a practitioner life. Now, one thing about it, of course, is that, as you notice, it's big, it has a big vibration, a big picture. You know, and what is our normal picture of ourselves? Very small. We have all these little problems and plans and things that are going to work well or don't work well. And this is not that. So this is pretty good. What's this? So he says, you must assume the stance, the kamai, which is an important word in Aikido, kamai, which is the stance, the way you stand. But the kamai, right, for instance, the stance is very important, especially in Japanese, right? Like you can see there's this short video movie from before the war of some master swordsman just doing a few basic sword moves from school. I think he told me, right? And the way they stand, the way they hold their sword, and their concentration, and the whole effect of how they are, how they carry themselves, especially within the context of the practice. Right? This is the kamai, which is translated in English as stance. Better than posture. Stance, something. It's also this is the stance. The kamai, or just the stance of masakatsu, agatsu, katsu, hayai. So this has to do with what I was saying in the beginning. Masakatsu, agatsu, katsu, hayai. Aikido is not to win a conflict, to win a war, to be stronger, to defeat someone, even if they're trying to attack or defeat you. So this is expressed in these Japanese phrase, which is actually considered to be the name of a holy spirit within Shinto. Masakatsu, agatsu, katsu, hayaibi. And the basic translation of that is masakatsu, true victory. Agatsu, victory over the self. Katsu hayaibi means the victory where the victory of no time and no space. So, of course, stories in which we win or lose or are defeated or, whatever stories must take place in time and space. If someone wants to attack somebody, it must take place in time and space. They have to think about it, it has to take the form of the attack. And of course, a normal defense, in a case of a martial art, would take place in time and space. For Aikido, there is no time and space. The stance, the kamai, which comes from actually living that, what is expressed in those three, masakatsu, agatsu, katsu, hayai. It takes form in the way you carry yourself. What holds together the logic of all creation and the gods, which is what we were talking about before, right? The logical sequence of the multitudes of gods in creation. The reason which holds all that together comes from, or is, the laws which reveal, this is good, the formations of the precious workings of the beautiful ongoing universe. So the laws which reveal the formation of the precious workings of the beautiful ongoing universe is another way of describing this Shinto idea. And of course, this is what Buckminster Fuller points out. He points out that the principles which underlie and hold together everything, the scientific principles, are weightless. They have no energy. They weren't born. They don't die. But those principles are what hold all together. So O-Sensei is talking about the same thing. And then he says, all this originates from the single source. This is exactly what it says in the Tantra, which I'm reading. All originates from the single source, from which you are not separate. So the single source is not something which is there, and I'm here, and I have to get back to there so I can experience or connect with the single source. The single source, what is not the single source. Within that you have all of religion. Therefore, we should observe carefully the genuine images of the totality of creation and of the multitude of kami. So it's like we want to see, feel, experience the totality of creation. Now, of course, they try to do this in science, but it's limited. We want to do this sensually. So in that sense, it's closer to art. He says, and then store that vision in our abdomen. And he says, from that will bloom your awakening, your enlightenment, your liberation. So, you must continue your Aikido practice. And in this case, the translator says, in this case, I know the original, so he says Aikido Shugyo. So Shugyo is a deeper word than just practice. It means intense, spiritual and physical, practice. So Aikido is Shugyo. And therefore he says, you have to, more and more practice Aikido. Understanding this. Continuously polish your training, polish your movements, your being as in the Aikido practice. And also reflect on your practice, reflect on what you've done and how you are doing it, right? And through this, your body and mind are balanced and one, become one. Now this, of course, again and again is very important, and one of the things that sets forth or sets out, or is an important thing in Eastern practices, is it's always the body and mind together. Now, and this is what we've been doing, we've been actually experiencing what he says next. He says, then it becomes possible to integrate the logic and logical relationships of the gods and all creation, right? Which is, he's talking about the multitudes of gods, the flow, the multitude of the divine through all creation, right? It's possible to integrate all of that into one's Buddha. So one's Buddha becomes an expression, a manifestation of the divine reality of all. And thus, Aiki techniques appear as expressions of the principle of Aiki, unity with the Ki, which is also spiritual energy, which holds together the whole universe, holds together the universe. That's what we're talking about when we say the multitudes of God and all creation. And so you must be sensitive, you must feel the most subtle changes in the universe, the most subtle changes that take place in the movement of energy in the universe and in yourself. The O-Sensei says, without these true images, true vision of what the universe is and how it expresses itself, he says you cannot achieve oneness with the truth of the universal. There's no other way to do it. And without manifesting oneness, without oneness and being manifesting, so that there's no separate you, you cannot express or complete your 10